Since we are on the 8th day today, and we spoke about in the morning about that the 8th day represent the circumcision, the Brit Milah, and we want to focus a lot on Tikkun HaBrit, then a big part of the Tikkun is not to do it. Now, many don't understand how can you control this horrible urge. I mean, you know why Hashem gave us this urge? There is a time that our sages had a power to control certain things in the world. So our sages came together and they decided to cancel and to annul the desire for marital relations. And they got rid of it. No te'ava anymore to have marital relations. Permitted, not permitted. And so they canceled the te'ava. What did they notice after a few days? There's no eggs. Chickens were not giving eggs. In order for the chicken to give an egg, she has to be aroused by a rooster. The rooster will do the sound. How do you say crow? Not the crow. The crow. The rooster does the crow, and the chicken, the female chickens, they get fertilized, they get aroused, and they bring an egg. If you remember, 2 years ago when we were learning Tractate Beitzah in the Talmud, we were learning about it, what the Talmud says. So they noticed that the chickens are not giving any eggs. And then they noticed, wait a minute, this is going to be a problem. There's not going to be any procreation. So they reversed it. They brought it back. So we learned in depth about this idea. But the reality is that the desire was put into us because if I wouldn't have any desire to be with my wife, how would I perform the mitzvah of Pru Urvu? How there would be any continuation? And maybe you experience it or not, but I know many men that they learn a lot of Torah and they're in a very holy environment, they don't want to be with their wife. It's a distraction. And also the urge gets buried. And that's what many men do. They learn Torah, not like many others that they learn 20 minutes and I need a break. You know, learning Torah is learning 18 hours a day, and you learn Torah 3 hours every time in one shot. You go into the Gemara, deep into the Gemara, mefarshim, halacha. I mean, what do you think people who are avrichim, who learn Torah all day long, they learn 8 hours to 12 hours a day Torah. This is pure Torah. It's not kashking and talking. This is sitting with 8, 9, 10 books that are open, cross-referencing. This is serious learning Torah. Person that is in that level doesn't have any desire to do physical acts. It's like, not for me. So, amen. So, Kadosh Baruch Hu planted in us this desire, but this desire has to be directed to my wife. I should lust my wife. I should desire my wife. Of course, in a nice, respectful way, not chas v'shalom, to go overboard. But I should desire my wife. My eyes should only look at my wife. My thoughts should be about her. Not easy to do, but that's what it needs to happen. Now, of course... Where's
the broom and mop?
The who?
The broom and mop.
I don't know, but I'm teaching a class now, okay? So, my desire, my thoughts, my lust should be only for my wife. And vice versa for the woman. She should only want and desire her husband. And so now will come single men and tell them, what about me? So find yourself a wife. But I'm trying, try harder. So I'm not saying it's easy. I was also single for quite a while. This is a period that you have to be very, very strong. I'm not saying it's easy. But that's why our sages say, you reach the age of 18, go find yourself a wife. Get married right away, that you're not going to have this distraction now. Now if you miss the opportunity of the age of 18, so work hard to find your wife and pray to the Kadosh Baruch Hu to do whatever you can, because this is, first of all, it's important to be married, to build a home and so forth, but nevertheless, for this specific department, then of course, not having a wife is making it much harder. But let's now focus right now, not on these details. Unfortunately, the problem is when I don't have the desire for my wife, then the desire will start going to other places. And there's reason why a man would lose interest in his wife, or the woman will lose interest in the husband. But we're not going to talk about this today. Today I want to talk about something that is shayach. It's important to anybody. To a single person, old person, young person, also for women. There is a commandment that we have in the Torah, and we read it 3 times a day in Kriyat Shema Lamita. Velo taturu acharei levavchem ve'acharei einechem, asher atem zonim achareihem. So it says, do not go or follow. Latur is to look. You remember who and when we just read that used the word latur? It should be fresh in your mind. It's the spies. The spies went latur et haaretz. That's the word that the Torah uses. Forget the translations right now, whatever translation you read. Latur is to go after with your eyes something that you want to find pleasure just by looking. There is a great pleasure by looking at things. It says in the time of Adam and Chava that when they're in Gan Eden, to look at the tree was a pleasure. Ta'ava la'inayim. They just looked at it. It was a ta'ava. Ta'ava is a desire. Now you take an average woman, put her in a mall, she likes looking at all the stores. I mean, some men do. So there is a certain desire to look at things, especially when they're beautiful, when they're unique and special. But the Torah tells me, "Velo tatu achrei levavchem," don't go after the desires of your heart, v'achrei einechem, after your eyes, which means that the eyes are constantly looking. Very few people know how to control the eyes. But this is where it all starts. Our sages explain the eyes see. I'll say it in Hebrew, then I'll say it in English. העיניים רואות, הלב חומד, והמוח מתכנן איך לכבוש. The eyes see, the heart starts desiring, now the brain starts thinking, how am I going to get it? So if you want to prevent the 3 stages, then you have to not see anything. This is where it all starts. This is called Shmirat Anyim, guarding your eyes. If you know how to guard your eyes, then by default, you're blind. You don't see what's in front of you. And, you know, the verse says, "Velo taturu achrei levavchem," don't go after your heart. This I will dissect another time. "Velo taturu achrei einechem," don't follow your eyes. Let's see what the translations say here. I usually don't like going by translations, but let's see what it says. The English translation for "Lo taturu achrei levavchem." And you will not follow after your heart and after your eyes, by which you go astray. See, I don't go by the translation. Lashon Kodesh, it makes much more sense. Lo taturu achrei levavchem, don't follow the desires of your heart, because your heart leads you to the wrong way. I mean, it's kind of close. But the lo taturu achrei einechem is that very few people know how to control what they look at. So, first of all, one should guard their eyes, because when you look at something, we spoke about it last week, right away you start judging the situation according to the angle of what you see. If you imagine now in your mind a stadium, a football, basketball, whatever it is, baseball, there's the field in the middle and a ring around it. So if I'm sitting here, it's the same view what you seeing from sitting there. It's a different view. And from the person sitting here, person sitting here. If I'm looking at a situation, I'm judging it according to how I see it. We spoke about it last week. You can't do that because it will never be accurate. In order to really judge, is you have to go all around, see all the angles. The same thing here. So if I look at things in a certain way, by default, I'm going to start thinking what I want to think, what's comfortable to me to think. But here he goes to a higher level, is that when I look at something, especially if it's nice, as it says in the Torah, in Sefer Bereshit, nechmad lemar'eh, it was saying about the tree of life, it was nice to look at. So when we see things that are nice to look at, then right away, the heart starts desiring it. And then you're already trapped in the first trap. Because right after that, the mind will start thinking, how am I getting that? So I confessed many times in public that I had Now it's much less under control. A very strong weakness to sports cars. If I would see like a nice red shiny Ferrari, I lose my senses. One time my wife and me went to South Florida to a vacation, and it's full of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, all these cars. I would like, wow, I would go completely crazy. So my wife was very happy. She was like, look at the cars. It's fine, look at the cars. Later on, I heard her say to a friend, I'm so happy, my husband, most men look at women. My husband looks at cars. Let him look at the cars. I'd rather him look at the cars. So, but this is a perfect example because you see something that is very attracting, very attractive, very close to your heart. With a car, you don't necessarily desire the car. But nevertheless, you're like, I wish I would have a car like that. And that can cause jealousy, can cause a lot of feelings towards the person. And needless to say, it can cause a person to say, how am I getting money now? Maybe I should rob a bank. Maybe I should start cheating people. Maybe I'll go to the casino, maybe to make a quick buck. But now we're focusing on humans. Most people, when they look at the other gender, oy vavoy if it's the same gender, I don't want to even go to that, but many people look at the other gender, they find grace and beauty in it, especially if the other gender specifically is exposing too much skin, then that right away causes attention, causes the eye to go and look. Lo taturu achei levavchem. Sometimes a person walks in the street, they goes their head down, doesn't like to look too much. The danger is that the second that the eye is locked on something that you find favorite, that's it. You just know that you're already stuck in the first trap. And you already almost can't leave from this trap. Now you have a problem. How do you stop? The only way of doing it is not to put yourself in this situation. Now is it easy? I didn't say it's easy. So don't live in Las Vegas. So don't live in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. Don't live in a place where you know you're going to have a problem there. If you are a Baal Nefesh, you go to a place where there's tzniut there, where there's no pritzut. How did you say pritzut? Licentiousness. So this is pritzut. Before you said promiscuity, and you added on even more than that. So don't live in a place of pritzut. Don't go there. Don't go to the beach where the ladies are half naked if you know you can't control your eyes. So what we need to take from that, and there's much more to it, by the way, because by the way, Shmirat Anyim is a very high level of when a person sanctifies themselves. Some people, they sanctify themselves with Shmirat Lashon. That's what we're focusing on. Not to talk Lashon Hara, not to slander, not to lie, not to cheat, not to gossip. You know how hard it is to guard your tongue? You know what a Yetzer Hara is, that you want to react now and say something? And especially when it comes to mockery and clownery, it's a big Yetzer Hara. And sometimes it's on the tip of your lip, you want to say something, you know everybody's going to be on the floor. And it's a big Yetzer Hara. It's called Shmirat Lashon. We're focusing on that also now. But Shmirat Anyim, this is a very, very hard thing to do. That I told you not once and not twice. The Chafetz Chaim used to sit in a closed room with blinds, and he would be asked, why did you open the blinds? Get some sunlight. No, I know it's on the street. I know that if I look out, I'm already putting myself in a life-threatening situation. You know, the lineage of the Abu Chatzera, the famous one of all, of course, is the Baba Sali, but his father, the Abir Yaakov, the entire lineage of the Abu Chatzera, they are known to have Shmirat Anyim. And they are known that because of that, all their kids, all the families, tzaddikim, neither one of them ever met women. There's no such a thing that you could have gone to the Baba Sali as a woman. Even now, when you go to Nariya, to Rav David Abu Chatzera, there's no women there. He never sees women. He doesn't look at women. And they're famous. The entire lineage of Abu Chatzera are about Shmirat Anyim, not to put yourself in such a situation. Now, is it doable to you? You go in the street, you work, you have to interact. You can't segregate yourself even though you want to, but if you can't, then you at least need to know how to start controlling what you're looking at. Now, Comes a big question. I'm walking in the street right now, and in front of me is walking a woman, and she's very not modest, half naked, all the body parts are exposed, the dress is bright red, it's catching my eye. Now it's right in front of me. What do? Do I put my head down? Do I ignore? I mean, some people act in a not appropriate way. They will go and all sorts of things like that. Don't put yourself in a situation like that. Just put your head down. Comes the question, what happens if I'm going and it's right in front of me? So I heard once a great rabbi say that if you're walking in the street and you see vision of in the case of us men, of a woman who's extremely not modest, and you're looking for a second, don't worry, that's not your problem. You know when it becomes your problem? When you go like this. That's when it becomes your problem. So the first few moments that it's in front of your face, it's not your problem. That's the test, to know to go like that. You don't have to look. Count till 3. Say some verse of Tehillim, let it pass. And needless to say, the Yetzer will be like, look, what do you got to lose? What's the big deal? You pick up your eyes. It's not a big deal. The right way is to put your eyes down and to say a verse of Tehillim or to pray. I used to pray, Hashem, save me, save me. This is a ticking bomb. I don't want to look. But the problem is when you look back. That's already yours. That's when you possess it. Once you possess it, that's it. You're already in the trap. It's just a matter of time before the heart starts working and the brain starts operating. It's just a matter of time before one thing leads to another and the person will fail. So you have to be, in Hebrew it's called lakdim trufa lemaka. Take the medicine before you get the sickness. I'm sure there's some fancy term in English for that.
Precaution is the best medicine.
Precaution is the best medicine. And in Hebrew it sounds prevention. Okay, all these terms, the point is, don't get yourself into a situation that you know you're not going to get out of. Now, if you're already in the trap and you're deep in the hole, you don't even have these thoughts. You come up with all the excuses why it's okay to look. You come up with all the excuses why it's okay. No, I can control myself. There's no big problem. So what if she's half naked and all the body parts are right in my face? And then, of course, the mind will come up with all the excuses why it's okay to look. But you have to understand that the second that the eyes are locked on something, more than 3 seconds, that's it. You are 99% finished. You're already trapped. Because the chizayon enayim, the vision in the eye, that's what the Yetzer wants to grab you. So 3 times a day we say, don't follow your eyes. And now we're talking about this department. This will apply to anything. It will apply to money. Some people live in rich areas. They see beautiful cars all day long. Drives them nuts. How am I going to get this money? And eventually they'll do illegal things just to get the money. And of course brings them jealousy and to all sorts of other emotions. Now we're focusing only on how do I prevent myself to bringing myself to a situation that chas v'shalom I will be in a place of danger. And it all starts with what I'm looking at. If I know how to put my eyes down at the right moment, then I know how to put myself in a safe place. You need to know your level. You need to know what you're able to. And if you know that you have a weakness, don't put yourself in this situation. Now a lot, of course, I know many women will say, what about us? We don't have this problem. Now I'm not a woman, I can't tell you what women think, but I know for many women, they also look, there's not much of a difference. That was told to me by many women. They also look, they also desire the other gender. They also, when they see a young man full of muscles and whatever, wavy hair, they're also exactly like us. Maybe not, I'm not trying to chas v'shalot insult anybody. But the point is that we have to guard my eyes and to keep the eyes holy. Now, especially when you're married, eyes look at it, that when a man looks at another woman when he's married, this is 100% betraying. 100%, how do you say it in English? Not cheating, I mean adultery. There's another word to that. It's 100% linof. Unfaithful. Especially when the man is already on the beach with this woman in Cancun and all these thoughts that are going, and needless to say, many other things. This is mamash cheating on your wife, or vice versa. I'm talking now because the men. That's that. If you don't have it in your mind, then you won't think of the severity. You have to think, if you're married, that looking at another woman and desiring her in a very inappropriate way, you're cheating on your wife. Would you feel comfortable to share that openly with your wife? Walking with her in the street and telling her, look at that gorgeous girl, I wish I would be able to take her now you would get a slap across the face. You don't get dinner now for 3 months. Sleep on the porch. So the thing is that the Yetzer Hara will manipulate the situation to make you feel that you're okay, that everything is fine. And like I said, not once and not twice, there's so much more to really learn about this. I can only tell you from my own experience and the experience of others. Listen, I also grew up secular. I also grew up till almost the age of 30 without any boundaries or any laws or any rules. You know what it is in the age of 28, 29 to make a switch? So I'm also human, but I developed all these little methods because I saw and understood the severity. Our sages teach us, "Ezehu hachacham haroeh et hanolad." Who is a smart, wise person that sees what the situation will birth? If you're not, then it's just a matter of moments before you get dragged after that. And needless to say that we have a habit of a beaver. You know what's a beaver? Those fat little rats that they build dams and stuff like that. You know why? What the method of the beaver, or the idea of the beaver, is it's a little bit of a stupid animal. It goes in the morning to collect the wood or whatever it needs, and it leaves some type of a track, so it can come back in the evening and follow the track. So there's a story that one time the beaver is coming back and he's crying. So they ask him, why are you crying? So he says, because I'm going on my track. Okay, so why are you crying? Because I see at the end of the track a trap, and there's a hunter there. So they ask him, so why are you crying? Because I'm going to go straight into the trap. So tell him, so why don't you get off the track and go out around the trap? He's like, no, I can't. This is my track. And I'm going to go straight into the trap. So most people have the beaver syndrome. You know you're going into the trap. Make a detour. What's the big deal? No, that's my trap. That's my track. So if you're going like a beaver straight into the trap, then sorry to tell you, you are a beaver. The thing is that you have to already internalize that the danger is coming from any direction. Now listen, I'm not saying everything. I know some people that they don't have this issue for whatever reason. And not a lot, but most people, they have this unwanted desire that is usually out of control. And there's no ages for that, by the way. I thought maybe in the 50s, 60s, 70s starts wearing off. Apparently it doesn't. No. So the point is that one of the most holy things that one can do in this world is the sanctuary of the household. And if this is not there, then what are you? You're just like another animal in the desert that goes after their own impulses. You have to be holy. You have to be kadosh. Don't think for 1 second, this is the foundation of us. We are supposed to be holy beings. Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, Tiyu kedoshim ki kadosh ani. You should be holy. I'm holy. So first of all, and most important, I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm just saying that it has to start being cooking in a person's mind the severity, the importance, the how detrimental it is. A person in one shot can ruin 2-3 years of hard work of tshuva. So it starts with where you hang out. It starts with where you live. It starts with who you associate with. It starts to which Bet Knesset you go to, which shul. It's all these things. You see a place that is not appropriate for you, don't go there. If you see it's a place that your weakness will be chas v'shalom put to a test, don't go there. And when you have to walk in the street, then you have to think 3 steps ahead. Because the Yetzer Hara is already thinking 5 steps ahead. So we're going to elaborate on that much more, but it all starts now. I just want to bring the awareness that the guarding of all the gates, we spoke about it last week. We have 7 gates in our body. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and a mouth. All the gates have to be guarded. In a few weeks, we're going to be reading a parasha called Shoftim. So it says, Shoftim v'shotrim tasim b'chol sha'arecha. Guards, and you should appoint judges and guards to all your gates. What are the judges? That when you judge what to see, what not to see. What to say, what not to say. What to eat, what not to eat. These are the judges. But the guards is to enforce it. So we have to put judges to our gates. What am I looking at? I see from far away, this is not good for me, then right away it has to be enforced. Don't look. Don't go into this store if you see a danger. You see a problem, don't put yourself in this problem, because most likely you're not going to be strong enough to stand the temptation. Greater men than us couldn't stand the temptation. So who are we? So I'm just going to conclude with one story. You know that every time that we start praying, we say, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. Came the fourth leg of the chariot, which is David HaMelech, and he told the master of the universe, I think we should add Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Ve'elokei David. After Yaakov, of course. Hashem says, what? But we start with Elokei Avraham, Yitzchak, Ve'Yaakov. Why are you coming here? He says, well, I'm the fourth leg of the chariot. I should be also in there. Why am I not there? Hashem told him, listen, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov I tested. You, I didn't test. I tested them, they passed. So David HaMelech says, so test me. Hashem tells him, David, listen, I'm in a good mood today. You go back to what you're doing. No, sure, really, Hashem, I want you to test me. David, please, I'm begging you. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they were able to stand the test. I'm not too sure if you will be able to do it. David HaMelech pushed and pushed and pushed. He says, okay. And the second that David HaMelech accepted the test and Hashem allowed it to happen, and Batsheva goes on the top of the roof, and the rest is history. So don't ask for tests. Don't put yourself in a place of jeopardy. Even David HaMelech, even though according to Kabbalah it's not really what was going on there. I explained that already in a previous class, what was going on in the time. David HaMelech, who was the manifestation of the Malchut, he saw already the Shekhinah, Al Gag Bet HaMikdash. He already thought that it's time of the Geulah to do a Yichud. Anyways, I explained that in depth once in one of our classes. The point is, what we need to take, if David HaMelech failed, so much more so that if I put myself in a place of danger, I will fail too. Don't put yourself there. You know that if you go on a certain website, it's going to make you fail. Don't go there. You know that the social media is full of pritzut. Don't go there. You know that something, you're about to see a movie, you know the movie is rated R, don't look at it. Why put yourself in risk? And don't let the Yetzer Hara convince you, no, you can handle this. You've seen this before. You've seen once, you've seen them all. No, you didn't. It doesn't work like that. The Yetzer Hara will tempt you, exactly like he did with Adam and Chava. So the first step is guard your eyes, and you'll see that the Kedusha that you bring on yourself is beyond what you can fathom. If you just put it to the test to really sanctify what you're looking at. Because when you're looking at things that are not appropriate, it starts affecting your thoughts. It's affecting your actions, it's affecting everything. So we're going to start by at least applying this Shmirat, this guarding on my eyes. So chas v'shalom, I should not follow my eyes. And don't forget, you're also transgressing a commandment from the Torah. Lo taturu achar einechem. Then you are actually doing a mitzvah from the Torah. So just imagine every time you put your eyes down, this is a mitzvah from the Torah. You're doing a commandment from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Mezad Hashem, we start applying that in our life, then you'll see that you'll add a lot of holiness, a lot of kedusha to your life. Your thoughts are going to be more pure. Your behavior, your prayers will be more clearer because there's no junk in the mind. To empty the junk in the mind. The second that you do the first rinse, and there's no immorality and disgusting thoughts in your mind, then it doesn't come to such a desire. The problem is that the mind is infected with everything that you see all day long. So this is the first step. B'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will assist us. You know, it says in the Talmud, "Habali te'er mesayin oto." A person comes, makes a step, he wants to become pure, they will give him assistance from Shamayim. And the same verse it says, "Va'abali tama, potchim lo." A person comes to become impure, they open. Why it says open? It says open the gate. Here, go, do whatever you want. Go and party. Let's see what you can handle. So we want to make a step, "Abali taher." We want to come and become pure. So you'll get assistance from above. It has to be genuine, it has to be real, and you have to say, I want to get rid of this filth for my own sake, to be holy, that my thoughts should be holy, my heart should be pure. Then you'll see that your level of observance is a completely different level. You know, in many Batei Knesiot, it says on the Aron Kodesh, Ze Ashar LaHashem Tzadikim Yavo Uvo. This is the gate to Hashem, the righteous people who go through it. In order to go through this gate, then the eyes have to be pure. I'm not going to tell you now, we'll go through it another time with the teachings of the Zohar and Kabbalah explains when you're looking at the inappropriate things. What happens to that? I told you the other day, the Rizal says that when you're looking at something inappropriate, it's like taking a needle and poking your eye with it. That's how the soul feels. So we want to also remember, you know, our sages, the Zohar says that if a person pogem ba'inayim, he damages the eyes, he will never see the Shekhinah. Now, if a person dies, then you don't see the Shekhinah when you die. That's a big, big pain for the soul. But also in the coming of Mashiach, and Hashem will come back to this world. Can you imagine the punishment not to see the Shekhinah? To wear some type of veil, you can't see the Shekhinah, what a punishment it is. So just for that, when I read that, that was enough for me. What, I'm not going to see the Shekhinah? I'm going to be pushed out of the party? You know what it is? Not to see the Shekhinah, the godly revelation. Soon Mashiach is going to come, Hashem is going to come back to this world, and I'm not going to be part of it because I spent my time on some websites. This is way too big of a loss. A few moments of pleasure to lose my entire reward in the world to come. So we have to understand the severity of it. I can tell you already that the more you sanctify yourself, you elevate yourself to a point that you're a totally different individual. It affects your thoughts, your speech, your actions, everything. Ezrat Hashem should help us to reach to these levels of tahara and purity, and Ezrat Hashem should have the God-fearing in us to be able to control it. Ezrat Hashem.